Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Music podcast. I'm your host, T. Davis, and today I'm excited to be joined by my friend,
Elizabeth B.
Elizabeth B.
Hey.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to have you on for a minute, but we're both busy and stuff. So here we are.
Yeah.
Well, what I always do is have you describe what you do in the music industry, in the music biz, in your own words.
In my own words, I am an artist and a songwriter. I write pretty much for myself. I'm not opposed to co-writes, just haven't found my people just yet with that. But I've done a lot of touring. I toured in the US and Europe for many years and did the background cover music gigs with the sprinkling of originals, 3-4 hours. Moved to Nashville in 2019 to pursue music, and have just been finding my ground here since then. So it's been about 6 years, and diving into production now, which is really exciting, wanting to cut my own demos and just trying to navigate the musical landscape and keep my mind open to evolution in what I do.
Right on. Very cool. So tell me about like your background. How'd you get into music? And like where are you from originally?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
That's right. We've connected on that. You've been talking to me so much about visiting family in North Carolina that somehow creeped in my mind, but that's right. We have connected on the fact that you and Bree are both from Pittsburgh.
That's right. Yep. Yep. Different sides of the river. Same town. It's funny. Yep. I'm from Pittsburgh. I didn't grow up in a musical family or anything like that. Mom would sing, when we went to church and sang hymns, and we always had a piano. My great grandma's piano was always at the house. So I take music lessons here and there, but didn't really plan to go into music. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. I was more raised to be a corporate employee with a 401k and health insurance. If my mom had it her way, that was the dream, right? With good intention. She had good intention. But my father passed away tragically when I was 20 years old. And something just happened that music was the only thing I could do. It was the only thing that made sense and made me feel through the process. So I just had this shift where music was like a calling. It was the only thing that I could do at the time to get me through it. And that was when I was about 20. My dad had always said I had horrible stage fright. A lot of my early story is just stage fright. I would go to open mics, maybe when I was 18, 19, and I would black out. Couldn't even tell you if I sang a song. And so I really had to fight that stage fright monkey for a while. I blame it on American Idol. You remember OG American Idol, where they'd have people come on and they'd say, "I am so great. I am amazing. What do you mean? Everybody tells me I'm great." I had it in my head thinking, "Oh, what if I'm one of those people? What if I think I'm okay, but I'm horrible? It'd be the worst thing ever." So
what if I have no self-awareness?
Right. And that was important to me. So I would hide in my closet, and I'd look over and he'd have the phone held out and grandma's on the other line, right? "Listen to her play. She's not that bad." So I remember him always saying that I was different and that was a good thing, and that I should play music. He didn't go too much more into that, but he was always supportive of it in a way that felt really genuine. So when he passed, that was kind of how I connected with him while he was gone, and got through those times. So I didn't come from a musical family. I didn't know how to meet musicians. So this is back in Craigslist days, where they had the Craigslist music section. So I put an ad that said, "Professional musician, only seeking other professional musicians. If you're a garage band just messing around, need not apply." It was the most ridiculous ad. I wish I still had it. And this guy, Brian, reached out to me. He said, "Hey, I read your ad. You're exactly what we're looking for. And so theory and this and that." I said, "I got to stop you, dude. I don't know anything. I actually have horrible stage fright, and I can't even sing in front of people, but please give me a shot. Let me play in your band." And he thought I was a psycho, and said, "No, absolutely not. But I'll give you a free music lesson." And I came over I think I played Tracy Chapman, Give Me One Reason. And he looked at me and he said, if you will let me teach you how to be professional and you listen to me and let me help you get better at what you're doing and you're good to work with, essentially, I'll let you be in the band. And so that was kind of my start with playing in bands and getting into music.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so when you would have been 20 at the time?
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah, right on. So you mentioned Tracy Chapman. So like, if you don't come from a very musical family, like what were the early like influences?
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Gosh, we listen to the Disney music or Christmas carols. It's kind of crazy. My parents they took music was very serious. I wasn't allowed to listen to anything that had swear words or anything that referenced drugs. This was so important to them for whatever reason. So I joke and I say I didn't know who the Beatles were until I was 18 and I didn't like their music till I was 25 because I just wasn't exposed to that. And I feel like I'm playing musical catch up now. But I remember it was a big deal. It was Christmas. They got me a CD player and they spent hours finding the best 5 CDs for me to give me. And it was Amy Grant, like what the Michael Jackson album that the first song is Jam. I forget what that album is. Maybe it's called, oh man, I feel stupid not remembering that, but it was Amy Grant, a Michael Jackson, Gloria Estefan, which was amazing. And there are a few others in there. So I think there's like a Leanne Rimes or something. I can't remember all of them, but then it was the boy band scene. So Hanson, LFO, Spice Girls, the boy band, girl band stuff. And then Yanni. You know Yanni, the composer. Live at the Acropolis is still one of my favorites. But and then that turned into having to sneak music to listen to. So I remember one day I heard Marilyn Manson it was the Live at Cedar Rapids show where he tells the story about the dream. And if you haven't heard this, it's the intro to I Don't Like the Drugs, but the Drugs Like Me. And that blew my mind up. Just insane.
I have not heard that.
It was the most compelling thing because it was my first time experiencing hearing an artist hold an audience in the palm of their hand and manipulate their emotions in that way. And I was just thinking, what the heck is this? What is going on? And it just, and then I went down this side. It was 3 6 Mafia and lots of heavy like gangster rap stuff. And I mean, my musical influences were so crazy. They were all over the place because I wasn't allowed to listen to this music. I was literally listening to cassette tapes in the back of my closet or at friends' houses. I'd have friends make me mixtapes who were allowed to listen to it. Insane Clown Posse. I loved ICP. It was just nuts. And all these things, my dad would find the CD and he'd break it into a million pieces and say, you can't have this. And then I'd get in like Jethro Tull and Billy Joel. I mean, you hear just anything I could get my hands on, but it was such a wild mix of things. And then I found Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, and I was like, music is the best thing ever.
Nice. Yeah. So when did you like start playing instruments?
The piano growing up. We had the piano. I'd tinker, get little, kids' songbooks. I'd put on like a Christmas concert for my parents with Christmas songs, one-handed Christmas songs on the piano. And then I got a guitar. I went to horse camp and I got really bullied at horse camp when I was probably like 12. And my parents decided on the way home that it would make me feel better to get me a guitar. I don't know. I should ask my mom what that was all about. I just remember they picked me up from horse camp and I was really sad because of the bullying, and like, let's stop at this guitar store, and they got me an Alvarez acoustic.
Nice.
It was a great guitar, and I would tinker around, play Tracy Chapman and Tom Petty, and I think the first song I learned was that Come As You Are by Nirvana.
Yeah.
Everyone's
gotta play, you gotta play that riff, right?
Yep.
So like were you just picking things out by ear? Like how were you learning stuff on the guitar?
I think I would take a couple of classes here and there, like a teacher So it was really whatever that teacher was into, right? One of my teachers liked Opeth, so I was learning Opeth. It was okay. Because I don't know, I didn't have I'd have my song books, like, I needed to learn every Hanson song, that was important, you know? So, at that age, but, yeah, I was just going through books, and I think I was real distracted, I was such an angsty kid, going through I had 8th grader syndrome, I call it, from 6th grade to 12th grade, so I was just kinda working through that, and,
Yeah.
the instruments were there, but right, it wasn't a main focus. I was a competitive equestrian, and that was a 6-day a week kinda thing for me and traveling and
Okay.
yeah.
So you just like did your family have horses or like how did you get into that?
That's another wild thing. I was 4 years old, and my aunt had 2 horses and told my mom that she was gonna take me riding, and it scared my mom, the idea of me being on a horse without knowing what I'm doing, so she just found a farm that would give a lesson to a 4-year-old. Eh, I it totally random. Like, the music, the horse, I don't know. I guess we were just throwing darts, and that's where it landed.
Yeah. So how long did you do that? Did you do that throughout your entire like upbringing kind of?
Yeah, I started getting more competitive when I was about 12, and then I did a lot of competition, translated to training, taught some lessons until I was about 25. When my dad died, he really helped bankroll the horses, and when he passed away, the horses soon kinda we yeah, it didn't have it they're very expensive, so
Mhm.
I would just ride other people's horses or do training, for people that couldn't get out every day of the week. They'd pay me to ride their horses 2, 3 days a week or taught lessons for a barn and just beginner level stuff and rode whatever was available. But yeah, and then now it's a couple times a year. I started taking lessons again here with a farm I love in Nashville. It's a nice way to get out and kind of boost my self-esteem because I'm like, I still got it.
Mhm.
So,
So when you kind of started pouring yourself more into music when you were 20,
mhm.
and so tell me about that first band,
The Remedy. That's
The
what they were
Remedy.
called. The Remedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bunch of older dudes. They had 20 years playing professionally with different bands and in the South, and they had become dads and had families and just wanted to get out and play again after taking a little break to raise their kids, and they were looking for a lead singer that was a girl because they felt like having a chick lead singer would get them more gigs, and they were all really nice. I really enjoyed playing with them and really enjoyed learning. You and I were talking earlier about the songbook, how, I would play and I'd have a book of all the songs, and one of them would always give me crap about, "You gotta memorize the lyrics," and
Mhm.
I had such an ego at the time, like, "Well, I can't memorize all those lyrics," and then I did, and it really was a freeing experience to just not have that songbook because it was a lot. I didn't know any of these songs that they wanted me to sing.
Right, so you were talking about how, like, you didn't grow up, listening to, like, all of the Beatles or whatever, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm.
So what kinda stuff were y'all doing in that band?
Mm. I remember they wanted me to do ZZ Top, we did some Allman Brothers, lots of classic rock stuff. I did my Tracy Chapman, Tom Petty, '90s stuff. I'm such a '90s music fan.
Mhm.
So we did '90s stuff. It's really an eclectic mix. We played Spooky was one of the songs we did. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. There were just, yeah, it was kinda that, just classic rock and Southern rock and
So would you say
whatever.
that was, like, when you started taking it, like, more seriously when you're gigging and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, we were the house band for a local, restaurant bar. Every Saturday, we played there for probably close to a year, and then we played different festivals locally, and the the drummer and the bassist kinda came as a package deal, and they had some really great leads for shows, and they really were wonderful in finding us opportunities to play as a band, and eventually, we wanted to expand, and I think we were growing, and we wanted to bring in another person. Actually, a woman approached us about joining the band, and she's amazing, so talented, and she came in and she played a show with us and we loved it. And she just brought an energy with her that ultimately started the band separating, and she went with the bassist and the drummer and they did their own thing, which was wonderful. Again, she's amazing. And then I went with Brian, the guy who I'd met on the Craigslist ad, and we started our little, our duo group.
Okay.
And that's when things got really serious, because when you take out the band and you actually have to hear yourself, that's when, okay, I got some stuff to work on.
So tell me about that.
Gosh, the stage fright with the band, it helped me push through the stage fright, really, because most of our shows were just the audience saying, "Hey, turn the singer up," because they don't understand feedback, and it's just a lot of sounds happening in small areas with bad acoustics. And so now it was just very vulnerable, right? It was me on my guitar, and Brian would play lead, and he'd bring a keyboard out, sometimes play piano. And yeah, just not screaming into the microphone anymore, having to learn mic control. And it got to incorporate some originals then, which was really beautiful. I had original songs. A lot of them are pretty depressing and not the ones you want to play for people trying to have a good time on a Saturday. Lots of judgments I had back then towards my original music, but we would work some in, and Brian had originals that I loved, so we'd play those too, and did that for a while until I decided that what became a trend in my life is that I need to change. So I got rid of my job, my boyfriend, my house, and I moved across the country to Park City, Utah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have been what age when you did that?
24-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 23.
And so why Park City, Utah?
Found a job.
Okay.
Went online, had a distant relative there. I had done an internship in college for she and her company, and loved Park City. Just the energy there, the mountains. But I think I was going to California, but that got me most of the way there, right? Because I was in Charlotte. I was from Pittsburgh, moved to Charlotte, North Carolina after Dad died. The whole thing with Mom getting transferred for work, wanted to be with her, got on my feet, got a place in Charlotte, and then moved. Actually, Waxhaw, which is like the farm town outside of Charlotte. It's a really cool town. And then, I just wanted to go west. My heart was calling me there, and got my Honda Element, put a tow package on it, got a little U-Haul, and just went across and landed in Park City, and was going to be there for maybe a year, and I ended up there for 6.
Okay. So did you continue with all the music stuff there? Like,
that's when it got for real, was Park City. I was playing 5-6 days a week in Park City during the music seasons, which were summer, long winter. I was very blessed when I got there, because I've always had this thing, right? I reached out to people on Craigslist, right? That's how I found my band. So same thing. How do I find people? Well, social media. I guess I'll find artists that are in Park City or Salt Lake that I really like what they're doing, and I'll reach out to them, which had its ups and downs, because I feel like some people were soured to that. People would refer to me, oh, the Facebook girl. Like, it was weird that I was reaching out, but it was just trying to connect. And that's what I did. So I met this guy, Matt, and he was in the process of kind of leaving Park City. So he grandfathered me into all of his gigs. Practically, not all of them, but a lot of them.
That's cool.
It was a gift. Matt and his wife, they were just so much gratitude for that. And then they introduced me to this place called the Silver Star Cafe. I had my 15 seconds of TV. I was on their diners, drive-ins, and dives once. But
nice.
Anyways, the owners of the Silver Star Cafe, some of the greatest people I've ever met. And Lisa, she just took me under her wing and did amazing things for me, and getting my name out, getting my music places, and getting people to know who I was. She really believed in me, and I have a lot of gratitude. I owe her a lot for my start there, because she was very well connected in the community, and she really, really was a champion for me. I didn't even realize at the time the gift, but I do now.
That's always nice to have people who will like advocate for you when you get to a new place like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you were there for you said 6 years, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And is that when you really started to like develop songwriting more? Were you playing more originals and stuff out?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Originals. And I got really into conferences for a couple of years. I went to the Durango Songwriters Expo, which is one I really loved, and volunteered for there, as well as at the Far West, which is a regional folk alliance conference.
Okay.
So lots of focus on songwriting, obviously, in those two places, and then the people I'd meet there and being inspired around other songwriters. And I realized I didn't really know how to connect with songwriters in Park City where I was, and I wanted to be around that. So I was talking with some other people in the community who were inspired. They had tried at different times to do some type of songwriting meetup group. And I said, well, let's try it again. Who do you know? Who do I know? Who are we going to reach out to? And I ended up starting this Utah songwriters group that was a little bit underground, and that I needed to talk to you and just make sure you understood that this was about community and not a place to come and give your business card and do business. It wasn't about that. I really wanted to cultivate a space that somebody who wrote for Kenny Chesney and somebody who'd always dreamed of writing a song could come together and just be human beings on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
And so we created this group, and we had over 150 emails, and we would do 1 to 2 meetups a month. One of them was usually a song circle where we did feedback if you wanted it, stars and wishes. Like, let's start with what we love, and let's not say, a good feedback circle that was more about positivity, growth, and supporting each other. And then another meetup we would do would be some type of free coaching event. So one time, the Telluride Bluegrass Contest performance coach, which Telluride Bluegrass Festival has this songwriter contest. There's a woman that was their performance coach. She came in and gave a 4 or 5 hour free workshop to anyone in the group that wanted to come on just performance, connecting with your space, with yourself. Really beautiful. And then I would ask members, what do you know? What are you excited about? What can you teach other people in the group? And then I just find a place that we could host, and they would come in and put on their own workshop. So it was this beautiful thing where the email might be coming from me, but the group was really all of ours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was going for. I mean, I'm sure I wasn't always successful in that, but that's what I was really going for was how can this group be something that everybody's invested in? And that was really helped with my songwriting and diving into that, because I got to be around a lot more songwriting and songs. And one time we did have a person that writes for Keith Urban that also, like, we combined with another songwriting group from across the way in Utah, and he and his wife put on this amazing, to this day, one of the best songwriting workshops for our group for free. And then we all went and saw their house concert later that night. So it was really cool. There were some really fun things that we got to do as a songwriting group in Utah.
Yeah, that sounds great. So in those like meetings where you're giving like feedback and stuff, like talk about that, because it's interesting. Like, because I've joined NSAI since being out here, and I've gone to some of their like pitch events where it is like a feedback thing, like a song feedback thing. How did that dynamic work? How do you keep that a positive environment?
It was tough, and there were a lot of things that I look back and say, I wish I would have known, or I wish I would have understood. We tried to stick to this idea of wishes and stars, right? So you start with, I really love your chorus. When you go here, or you use that lyric, it really hit me, and that's something that really stood out to me as a positive in your song. I mean, that's basic, just to get the idea. And then, if it were my song, I might make the bridge a bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Or If it were my song, I might do something else, but try not to say it, versus if it were my song, I would sing about something else entirely. And if you're trying to go for film and television, this song is not going to work. That's what we tried to steer.
Yeah.
So it's different in those feedback sessions. At NSAI, you have somebody who is well-versed in the industry, right? Coming in and listening to songs, and it's 50 songs. So they don't have a ton of time to give you feedback. Their ears are probably a little numb halfway through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can imagine. We were maybe 15 at the largest group that we had, and it was just all kind of peer feedback. And we have this one guy who's in the group who's still a dear friend of mine to this day that sometimes would make people feel uncomfortable with their feedback because they were just coming from a different place. They know so much about music. I don't think that I think they maybe struggled to read the room a little bit, right? This guy who's a dad with 3 daughters, who's a music hobbyist, but an insanely talented songwriter and just wants to play his original songs at shows on the weekends. I don't think giving him feedback about why his music doesn't work for film and television necessarily was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the hard part, was trying to guide that so that people understood that, wow, yes, that's totally valid feedback you have to share about why it wouldn't work for film and television. It's irrelevant, or it's irrelevant for this person. So yeah, navigating those personalities, because really that feedback, yeah, it's great that you can share, but we don't always need to share things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can save it for when it's relevant. That was a learning curve.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing that, you're gigging out a lot.
Yeah.
Like at what point did those opportunities start to come where you're like what you would call like touring more? Like what is the trajectory there?
Touring started as I want to go back home to Pittsburgh and see my family, but I need to make money on my way there and back kind of there. You know that feeling? Have you ever had that before? So that's how it started. And then I was going to these conferences and I had a really close friend that toured in Europe every year, multiple times. And I knew I wanted to go, and then I went to a conference, and he introduced me to another songwriter who had some tour dates, and I had some connections, and then me and this other songwriter just kind of teamed up, I want to say around 2016, and started booking these runs of longer tours. So we would go to Europe for however long a visa would let us there. I can't remember right now, but I want to say one time we were there, we played like 60 shows in 65 days. It was a very insane experience I can't even wrap my head around. And when I say shows, like they weren't all long lots of different stuff in there, and house concerts, more manageable because we could split the shows.
Mm-hmm.
But
how do you even begin to like plan and execute something like that? Because I feel like that's something that a lot of people would be interested in. Now, obviously, when would that have been? Like approximately when would that have been?
2016 to the middle of 2018 is when we were doing the heavy touring in the US and Europe. Like I moved out of my house and everything into storage and was essentially homeless during this time. I would come back to Park City. Thank God, shout out to my girl Kate. She would house me for a couple weeks, like in her basement. Her basement wasn't even all the way finished yet, or maybe it was finished, but somebody was staying in the room down there. But anyways, I lived in the Harry Potter closet. It was a very nice Harry Potter closet. Definitely an upgrade from Harry, but yeah. And I would just move my stuff out for 2 weeks into her house, and then put it back in the storage unit and hit the road.
So how are you logistically, like, because I mean that sounds awesome. Right. That sounds great.
Sounds great.
Well, it's a give and take, right? So it's the adventure, but this life comes with a lot of instability when that's what you're doing. So talk about like the give and take there, like what was awesome about it, and then what was not so awesome.
Well, your question about logistics, I will say that the artist that I was touring with, he was very well organized, and he did a lot of the booking. A lot of our bookings were his doing, and the logistics, and he was already planning to tour in Europe, so I kind of came around at a time that, I pulled my weight in my own way, but he had a lot of this stuff established and had a lot of the knowledge, and I'm very grateful for that. But then my friend, Mike, who was touring in Europe, he would invite us to play at all of his things. He would do the music for Écu Film Festival in Paris, and just touring in the Netherlands and France. And he would just always invite us to play. And then it was up to us to make the connections with the venues. So the next time we came, it was our gig and we could play. And he's so generous like that. Really grateful for Mike. And so things that I loved. I love the people. I come from a small town. I probably naive and a bit ignorant to a lot of things. And so just getting to experience the world and different people and different cultures was a really beautiful thing. Learning that that idea of I know nothing. I know nothing. And getting to learn something new and meet different people was just such a gift. And those special gigs, right? So we had this gig on a Wednesday, my favorite show of all of my touring for the years in Europe. We had this gig on a Wednesday. It was in a small town I had never heard of. We were a small group. Nobody had ever heard of us. And I was so angry with this guy because so much of Europe was Googling how many miles it was and thinking it's going to take the same amount of time as it does in the United States to travel that distance. Biggest mistake. Okay. If MapQuest tells you it's going to be 5 hours, it's going to be 9. So just plan. That's an exaggeration, but it was that idea. It was a lot of driving for little payoff a lot of the time, just not realizing how to do Europe. It was trial and error. It was a Wednesday, small town, didn't know us, didn't know them. And it was a giant
thing. Do you know what country?
It was in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the Netherlands. Didn't know anything about this. Didn't know where we were staying that night. Had just connected with this guy, Dave. It was
Dave.
Dave, he's a golden human. And we showed up, and I was so angry. I was really run down on these tours, had a bad attitude, definitely struggling with substance, drug and alcohol, pot and alcohol. And I just had a bad attitude because I said, why did we drive all the way here today? It was a very long day after a long day on long day. Nobody knows us. Nobody's going to show up. This is a huge stage. Like, it's a Wednesday. Why are we here? This is going to be miserable. Nobody's in the venue 2 minutes before the show's about to start. The venue is packed. It's like the floodgates opened. It is completely full. It is a captive audience. They are clapping, cheering, hanging on every word. They love the music. It was one of the most magical shows of my life. As soon as we finish and we come down off stage, it turns out this is like a community center, this venue for musicians and artists and performers. And that's who this audience was. This was the community that loved this place, and some others who just saw there was a show and came. So we come down, and they say there's the language barrier. Not everybody speaks English well, and we don't speak Dutch. So they're like, come over. And people start grabbing instruments off of the walls and pulling instruments out. And they start playing for us as a group their version of the song, our original song that we opened with that night.
Huh.
And they're singing lyrics that aren't even the lyric, but it was incredible. It was so surreal. Is this really happening? And then they start just playing their songs for us, and we had a jam on the floor of this venue for the next 2 hours before we went to Dave took us to a local hostel where apparently he made some deal to get us a room for the night. And I mean, that kind of stuff, that kind of magic would happen a lot on tour. But then you'd have the nights where you don't know where you're staying, and and you have to ask people for help, and you end up on a mattress on a dirty floor in the middle of downtown, um, somewhere, who knows what town. There's so many cities. But I remember this one, we were in Belgium, it was in Brussels, and we were on a dirty mattress, and all the kids, they were like very skinny, several floors, and there were all these kids that were really sick with the flu, and to get to the bathroom, they had to come down the stairs and walk over our mattress and like that, but which grateful to have a place to stay. But it was just a lot when you have to get up and perform and drive a couple hours the next day. Like, that's not the best sleeping arrangements.
So, like, in hindsight, like, talk about looking back on it now versus the moment. Because, like, in the moment, it sounds like at times you're having these really miserable experiences. In the moment, were you, like, fed up with it? Or was it like, well, would one of those magical nights make up for the struggle bus days?
I think yes, definitely. They definitely would make up for those days, but it was such an up and down. I mean, my story. I've been sober from drugs and alcohol for about 20 months now. And back then, that was when things were hitting ahead for me, really, with that. So I think a lot of my attitude, I lacked a lot of gratitude in my attitude. And that was definitely holding me back. And when you're trying to figure out how to get high and drink on the road and everybody's partying and you're in a foreign country and kind of just indulging too much, I think in the moment I struggled to see how freaking lucky I was to do that. Because what I did, the people I met, the places I went, I was grateful, but I was struggling with some stuff. So looking back at it now, I realize, wow, I'd do anything to go back and do it again as a sober person. And I will someday. I'll get to go back. I still talk to some of my fans and friends in Europe, and I can't wait to do it again. And just remember that, like, not be chasing something, just being present, staying present.
Do you think that when you got the opportunity to go over there, do you think part of that behavior, because I would imagine that it would be easy to romanticize the experience of, I'm traveling through Europe. I'm sure that there's, even if it's not purely for the sake of being high or inebriated, it's like, it's a cultural, there's so many ways to experience the culture based around that stuff, like the wine or the beer, depending on what country you're in. And we both know full well that just a career in the arts or entertainment comes with a lot of that anyway. But then you're like, I get to be a rock star living, like, roughing it on the road in Europe. Of course, I want to catch a buzz. Like, what are the dynamics there? Was it a little bit of that, or is it mostly just like, was it something like a deeper thing, like an internal thing that you feel like you were struggling with at the time, and the romantic thing was just a justification? Because I've done that. Like, I'm not 100% sober. I still drink occasionally, but we were talking about this before we rolled. I look at photos of myself in my my 20s, and it saddened me, because I know that there were a lot of evenings that I wasn't just having a beer because I wanted a beer.
Yeah.
It was because I wasn't satisfied with what I was doing with my life. And so I know how, just talk about that dynamic, because as a creative person, there's a lot of ways that romanticism can creep in and hide deeper things that we're not really grappling with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very well said. It was a mix of both, for sure. I when you first talked about the romanticism, that definitely it felt like it was more of that. But then I think about alcohol and addiction. I do look at as a disease, and so that was brewing. That disease was growing inside of me at the time. It was untreated, right? But there was a lot of romanticizing. I wasn't gonna go to Amsterdam and not smoke all the weed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember my Dutch friends who were big potheads, in my opinion, looking at me and saying, "You're just gonna smoke that stuff straight? What do you mean?" They would put it in their cigarettes. I said, "I could never smoke the Dutch weed if it wasn't in a spliff," and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't smoke tobacco at the time, so
You're
anyways.
like, that stuff's bad for you. I just want.
It's like if the Dutch pothead thinks you're crazy for smoking their weed, then maybe you are crazy and shouldn't listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
It was too intense. It was, it was so intense. It was so intense, and yeah, being on the canal, going to the shops, and of course, I found the local one that sold organic stuff that was in a boat on the canal. Like it was so cool, and lots of romanticizing, being in Paris, drinking French wine, and on a boat, looking over the Eiffel Tower or looking at the Eiffel Tower, all these things, so much romanticizing. I remember being on at a house. It was a barn, like a several hundred-year-old barn that was converted into these people's home, and they had the champagne vineyards there. And of course I'm going to drink the champagne from the vineyards of the place where I'm staying, all these things. And yeah, so it was that, but also it was just, I was just sick. I started using pot when I was 14, like daily. And then drinking got out of control in college, as it does for many of us. And my dad dying, it was just, I didn't know that I was suffering from this, but it was one of those things, like I'd house sit for someone and they had a bar, and my night would be spent just tasting every single bottle of alcohol, thinking that it was like so romantic and cool. And look at the glasses I'm drinking out of, and they have this cool ice I can put in it. It was just so, there was a lot of that being on tour, but yeah, I wish I would have known there was a lot more that I missed out on experiencing that would have been way more exciting than drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, what's interesting to me, I never had like I'm trying to find a word for it. I never had like a quote unquote rock bottom moment that I was like, that's it. I just have to be done. I had a pretty rough go with anxiety that I knew that the alcohol was exacerbating.
yeah.
But I never had like like I never got like arrested or anything, or it never came to like a big, like a head. But I had like, I had a moment when this should have been a wake up call. I got pulled after sitting at a bar drinking I drank like probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 pretty strong like IPA beers. And I got pulled for like my registration was expired or something. And this was when I was 26. And I remember when the lights came on, thinking to myself, I should figure out what I'm going to say to my dad when I call him from jail.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I knew I should not have been driving, and did the roadside sobriety tests, blew in the breathalyzer. He didn't tell me what I blew. He just handed me my license back and said, "Get home safe." So
Wow.
I don't know if I blew over the legal limit, but part of me feels like that cop just didn't want to do the paperwork.
I wonder.
But like, even that didn't make me just like quit. And I think it's easy when you're not having a moment like that, that all of the social and cultural things that make consuming substances feel so good. Like if you never have one of those big blow up moments, those good times, I think, cloud your perception of how much it is becoming like a part of what you do every day.
Yeah.
You know? It's like what was the moment where it was like, like, how did you know that it was like an issue? Because it's so easy. Like I said, like it's not always obvious that it's an issue, because a lot of people do just drink almost every day and still go to work and still like get the things done. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of people walking around who would be a lot better off and a lot happier without the alcohol, but like it's just not come to a head, and it may never, I don't know. I don't know what the line is there. It's hard to navigate.
I think it's some people are forced into it, right, through a DUI or something worse. But at the end of the day, even those people, you have to want it. There's just there has to be this experience, something in you that just makes you want it enough to do it. And for me, I thought I was an alcoholic for a long time, probably a solid 15, 18 years before I got sober. I had tried without any type of program or recovery guidance to get sober, and I'd always go back out and it would get worse every time. I didn't understand. Like the last time was I had been sober for 4 months, and it was, well, I'll just have a champagne toast at New Year's. What could that do? And then I ended up where I ended up before I got sober 20 months ago. But for me, like what you talk about is something they reference. Yeah, I hear a lot in conversation is a low bottom, right? You didn't go to jail, you didn't get a DUI, didn't kill someone, thank God. And but something happened that made you decide that my life is not the life I want to live, or it's not manageable with this. And for me, 20 months ago, I remember I was living with this woman, and I'm pretty sure she wanted to kill me. It was insane. I will not go into details, but it was like a how the F did I get here moment. I hate myself. She asked me one day, she said, "Do you like yourself?" And I looked her in the eye and dead serious said, "I hate myself." And that just stood out with me. Like, did I say that? I said that and I meant it. I was having suicidal ideations. Not that I'd ever do anything, but I was like, maybe if I just walk out into the middle of the street, I'll get hit by a car and I won't have to be this miserable anymore. Horrible. Horrible. And then I thought, I left Park City, all my friends, my community. I loved Park City. I still love Park City. I go back for a month a year. I love Park City. I love the people there. I love the community. I love the mountains, the animals, everything I love. And I left this place that I love to come to Nashville to pursue music. And I came to Nashville and immediately became a professional alcoholic and addict. I got a day job because you don't make money touring in Nashville, playing gigs in Nashville. You don't make a lot of money, or I don't. I'm sure plenty of people do, but and I was so sick after coming off of those 2 years homeless. I just wasn't doing music in Nashville, which is such a sad story that you unfortunately hear more times than not. And I just woke up and said, this is not my life. This cannot be my life, and I have to do something about it. And a person I was living with has a family with over 100 years combined sobriety between everyone, sisters, stepdad, mom, him. And he said, you should go to AA. You should just go to a meeting. I shouldn't say that, actually. Because you're not supposed to say that. Sorry. You said, sorry, all people who understand what just happened there. He said, why don't you go to a recovery meeting? So I said, okay. And I found a recovery meeting. And I went, and it just opened my eyes. And then I decided to find locally Cumberland Heights, and I went to their outpatient. And I did 4 months of outpatient where I got to learn for the first time about why my attempts at sobriety were not working previously. So, yeah, that's I wanted it. I guess that's a long way to get to it. Is I didn't want to live the way I was living anymore. And I wasn't doing anything that I felt like I was put on this earth to do. I was really just drowning, and people didn't really know I had a problem because I'd be out. I'd drink one drink like a normal person and then make up some bullshit lie about like, oh, I have a meeting or I have something really important to do. And I'd go home and hang out with my buddy Tito for the rest of the evening. So, yeah, I was so grateful to be able to say like, hey, I have a problem, because I knew I did for a long time. But my higher power at the time was other people, and other people were telling me, no, you don't. You don't have a problem. You're fine. But I had a problem. I was not doing anything. I was not living a good life. I was a liar. I was a thief. I was dishonest. I didn't even know I was lying half of the time. We talked about this earlier. Like when people are in addiction, you don't even know. You don't even realize how full of crap you are. So full of crap. And I just didn't want to be that anymore. I wanted to be somebody that I could love and that I could be proud of. And so that's how I got there. And I'm so grateful. My life is so much better. So much better today. And I'm so grateful.
So where has music been? What's your relationship with music been like in all this? Because we got on this topic because we were talking about the excesses of the romanticized treks through Europe, right? So that would have been, you said 2016 to 18.
Yep.
And so you're having, you know, I'm sure that looking back, like, even though in the moment you may not have felt as grateful for those experiences, that now, with like, especially the point of view that you have right now, like, you realize how cool that is that you got to do that at all.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool. Like,
so cool.
Like, it's cool.
It's the coolest.
But like when you get back from Europe and you're in Park City, like what was, I, as well as anybody, understand the call of Nashville. But if things were like, what was it about Nashville for you that made you want to leave all that stuff in Park City?
Yeah.
And be here?
It was really just leveling up. I was touring in Europe. I had fans there. My music career was starting to pay bills. Things were going well, even though I was a mess and breaking down. Things were going well in my music career, and all those years of blood, sweat, and tears we put in, I was starting to see a little payoff. And I came to Nashville, and I had, some people knew who I was, and I had, it almost felt like I had this little bit of clout because I was a touring artist coming here with gigs, because it's different here. It's just, I got to learn that there's so many things you can do in music coming to Nashville. But the draw was really just, I wanted to level up. I wanted to be in the business town because I had my touring, I had my gig schedule, I knew where I was going. And so I'd be here as a hub. But what I didn't know is that I was going to cancel my next tour because I was so physically ill, and like my body was dying from how I had been living. And then the pandemic was going to happen.
Yeah.
So then I was here. I was just here. And I didn't want to be in Nashville. I wasn't there by choice. I wanted to be back in the mountains. I wanted to be riding horses in the mountains and playing gigs. And so just things changed, and I was too sick to change with them, and just kind of went into my hole. And watched so many opportunities just pass me by because I was more concerned with self-loathing and alcohol and pot.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help that COVID was also going on.
Right.
I'm sure that did not help matters at all. I mean, I remember Bree and I mean, I already loved beer, but, like, when I lost all of my work and I mean, I was you know, I ended up doing a software engineering boot camp for 12 weeks in the middle of COVID. That it's really funny now because, like, ChatGPT can write all of the code that I learned how to write in that 12 weeks in about 30 seconds with, like, a prompt. Anyway, so that was time well spent. But anyway, like, I would either be teaching guitar lessons for a few hours a day, because I was fortunate to have students that I was seeing in person who they weren't in school, so they didn't have anything to do. So their parents were letting them take 2 lessons a week instead of 1, and because they knew it would help me out. We had like a good community, but it's like drinking so much. And Bree was working at the nursing home on the COVID unit. And they for some reason got a 10% pay cut during that time.
Wow.
So she, we weren't getting drunk, but like every night she came home from that job, she was having a margarita or 2. And I know what that period was like, and like I feel like I had a good support system. But you're in Nashville. I mean, did you have like any friends or family in town when you got here already?
No family. I had friends. I just, at that point, I think because of COVID, relationships started getting strained with certain friendships. And I had some friends. I definitely had some friends. Like, I don't want to take away from that. I had some amazing friends here. I just was not a good friend to me, or really to anybody else at that time. I started selling wine during COVID. I was a great person to sell to.
Wait.
So like during COVID, I decided I needed to make extra money. So I started selling wine, and I was the only person who bought wine from me. So it was essentially like becoming a salesperson to get a discount on wine. I was drinking a bottle a day easy.
Oh, so you mean you had like access to wholesale wine?
Right, exactly. And so that's, which I mean, people who have done those, when you sell things, you understand what that can be like if you're not. I mean, I couldn't have parties, right? Yeah, I couldn't have wine parties and invite people. I wasn't very motivated to do it. I was, going through the throes of crumbling from my addiction. And yeah, I remember one day I went into one of the rooms in the house I was staying in. There was a giant box. And I had thought that it was a box from Park City that I hadn't opened yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, what could be in it? Is it maybe this thing that I can't find? Could this be in it? And I go and I open it up. It's just a giant ass box of wine bottles, empty wine bottles. And then I look around and there's just more little boxes of wine bottles. The entire room is just full of boxes of wine bottles. And I don't even remember drinking that much wine. But I do remember thinking, I'm going to keep all of these and I'm going to make candles, because that's a very, people listen to this and be like, I know, I thought that too once. But no. And it hit me like, girl, you probably are an alcoholic.
So I met you like, maybe like March-ish?
I was just smiling, having a little flashback to our iconic first gig together.
God.
Anyways, yeah, it was warm outside. I remember that.
It had to have been. I mean, it was like, it was early spring.
It's a couple months after you all moved.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, yeah, springtime. Yeah, definitely springtime. Definitely.
It's definitely near Easter. Oh my God. Yeah. But I remember at the time, I don't know, like I've only known you since then, but I know that like if you telling me where you were at, I just want to applaud you because you've obviously done a ton of work because like you've been nothing but you're one of the homies that like I know I can trust if I call and I need something or if I need to talk. I like
Thank you.
You're gonna be there.
Absolutely.
In fact, when I've asked you for things or to talk, your go-to is I got you.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And so like I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
That I would have I don't know, I feel like this is a weird thing to say. But I would have never guessed based on how you show up right now that was ever an issue or that you would have ever felt that way. And so like I just think it's a testament to like what the power of like accepting that personal responsibility and making the choice. I mean, it becomes a choice as much as it is a sickness.
Yeah.
You have to choose to be well. It's one of the few sicknesses that you can, in a way, choose to overcome. And I just think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Because even from that first day that we met, like I could tell you're a solid individual who has self-awareness and empathy.
Thank you.
Because like that first, we're tiptoeing around talking about how we met, but I'll see if I can paint a broad.
Say it nice.
Yeah. I was hired to put on a round for someone, and B was scheduled to play on it, but we had not met. I had seen you on the posters and stuff for this round in the past, and I just was not set up for success with the venue. We'll put it that way. I showed up, and it's a bunch of technical problems that were beyond my control, and it just ended up being not that great. And you were the only other one there that I think I would consider like a true professional. Like you totally understood where I was coming from and validated my feelings because I don't know, you know how it is. Like I was new to town. I did not move here with a bunch of clout at all. And so I just thought, oh, I should be lucky to be in this position at all. Turns out, no. Like, there are still people in this town who do things in the professional way. I just hadn't come across them yet. And we talked for a lot, like a couple of hours, I feel like. And and then you had another interaction. Well, this is how I know you were like good people. Cause like you like talked to me and reassured me, and you didn't know me from Adam. We just kind of, I don't know, when people show up and you know that they're trying to do their best, I feel like sometimes some people have that sensibility, right? And I feel like you saw that I really was trying hard and it just wasn't going to happen that night. But then you had an interaction with this person about that, and I feel like you were being gaslit, and some things you were when we were texting about it, it seemed like you were having some thoughts of self-doubt about like maybe I'm not, and so I called you and I was like, I don't know if you have time to talk, but we got to talk about this because like this is a horseshit interaction that you've just had, and you're good, you know, and I don't know where I'm even going with this. I have my entire experience, like having you as a friend has been like that you're like one of the real ones.
Thank you.
And that you like care about other people and their experience of not only their interaction with you, but you care about how people show up in the world for each other. And that's not always how people interact, especially in an industry town. You know? Man, I don't even know where to go from here.
It means a lot to me that you would say that. I really appreciate it because I do try to operate in that way. I truly feel like we are here to be the most genuine version of ourselves, to show up as who we are as artists and in the industry. And when I see the competition and the posturing, it just never has resonated with me, because how do you compete with somebody else to be the most true version of yourself? That's it's not really a thing, in my opinion. And I want people to succeed, and I want to succeed. So I try my best. Now that sure, I'm not perfect. There's times that people tick me off and I maybe don't want them to succeed as much as I want others. But as a whole, I want to spread love, because I want love, and I want, but what I'm learning is that love starts here, right? Like that love starts from me, and I can give back and I can show up for people because I'm putting myself first now. And I think the more that I do that, the more I have to give and to be there for other people, because in my mind, like if my friends win, I win. If I win, my friends win. I want community. I don't want to be on an island where it's the Elizabeth B show and it's all about me. I mean, it's already like that enough because we're the only person in our bodies, right? So it's important to me having community, and I could feel that also about you, that here's somebody who wants to show up professionally, which really matters to me, because I want to be professional, and I try to have grace, because I understand a lot of people in this business, they, you know, they don't show up as professionals in certain ways, right? So that we won't get into, but I could see that you cared and that it mattered to you what we were doing and how you showed up and how people saw you, because you want to be taken seriously, and we should want to be taken seriously. Not too seriously, but seriously.
Yeah. That was one of the things. We had a great conversation not long after that, because when I came here, I had it in my head that everybody that I came across was going to be like a monster song. Either if you're a songwriter, you write the best damn songs anybody's ever heard. If you're a guitar player, you're the best guitar player. If you're a singer, etc. And it's like you said, I love the line that you just said about it's not a competition, because how can you compete with someone when the goal is to just be as close to the truest version of yourself as you can, and just hope that that's what people accept. But like, there's this weird thing within the entertainment world and the arts where it's like, because it is a commercial thing, to whatever degree it can be commercialized now, because no one buys records anymore. But the attention that people get is commercialized in some way or another. And I came into town thinking that it was somewhat of a meritocracy, either due to technical proficiency as a vocalist or instrumentalist, or both. or an insane songwriting ability.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that there's really just a lot of people who moved here as dreamers, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but who, from my perspective, were not professionally prepared to, you know, to be doing that. And I don't know, we probably talked again for like at least an hour that day, and I learned so much about how to temper expectations in this town from you. Like, and I really appreciate that. Like, I remember you were talking about, you might go to a songwriters round and a person playing in the round might not be the best singer, might not really be playing that well in time, but they had 10 number one cuts 15 years ago. And I had not really experienced that at the time. And you sharing that insight with me helped me walking into other, environments where like I played at the Commodore one night, and Jerry Foster was the featured artist. And if you didn't know that he was in the Songwriters Hall of Fame and that he'd had like an insane amount of cuts in this incredible career, you might not be that impressed by what you heard. But that's the point. Is like, it doesn't, those superficial things matter and don't at the same time. And that's what makes this place so confusing to me. Or at least it was when I first got here. And I just wanted to say, I appreciate you helping me navigate that. Because I think it's easy to come here with expectations that are somehow met and not met at the same time.
I think so. And thanks for sharing that. And I do remember that conversation, because you just have to let people kind of be individuals here and shine or not shine on their own. Right? We talk about there's so many people in this town. There's not enough time for any one person to be connected with all of them in all the ways, but just staying open to the idea that things may not always be what they seem is really important, I think, in this town. And also remembering that, gosh, I don't know if it's Pat Pattison or who says this, that, 99% isn't your best 1%. Or, of course, I'm butchering that quote, but just meaning that, somebody might have 10 number ones, but that doesn't mean that every single song that they write is going to be a number one, right? We're writers, we're songwriters, and we're sharing what's on our heart, and we're sharing what we wrote, and we get to choose what that is and what scenario. And I think I shared with you my favorite round I ever went to watch back when the Crying Wolf, R.I.P., was having rounds in the back room. And it's a bunch of really great songwriters. A couple of them had pub deals. And this one guy, he was just wasted and acting crazy, and his guitar was out of tune, and it was bothering me to the point that I was going to leave, because every time it got around to this guy, I was so unimpressed. And then all of a sudden he goes to play his last song, he straightens it up, his guitar is somehow in perfect tune, and he proceeds to tell this story about how he met a woman, they fell in love, and Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison came to her in a dream. And she woke up and said they gave her a song, but she wasn't a songwriter, so she had him transcribe it. And he wrote this song, and then she died in a car accident a couple of days later. And this song got picked up and got him a publishing deal, brought him to Nashville, but nobody was there to support him while he's going through this horrific experience of losing this newly found and lost loved one. And so the whole thing on stage was just an act. It was just his FU to the music business, right? more or less. I mean, that's what I took away from it. And he played this song that was just like one of the greatest songs I've heard. And that whole time, I felt like such a jerk. That whole time, like, this asshole is ruining this freaking round. And then he just comes out with this insane story that was so moving that sticks with me, 6 years later. And it's just like, wow. Like, this is another human being with an incredible, powerful story. And I'm up here judging him not being professional on stage, taking shots on stage, like judgment. And you can't judge a book by its cover here. I mean, that's one of many stories, but I just thought of that example. Like, you just never know what you're looking at. And you got to let people kind of show for themselves. And some people, you may not even have more than just a second, but yeah, you just never know. You never know here. And there's so many avenues to get to the place you're going. There's so many different routes. And that's what blows my mind is coming from, if you don't live in a music town like Nashville, it's like all you know is gigging, right? It's just gigging. It's just maybe music lessons too, right? But then you come to Nashville and it's like, whoa, there's this, and there's studio musicians and touring musicians, and then these in the rounds, and then there's music business stuff, and it's like pave your own adventure.
Yeah.
Music style. And if you have, I think another thing I see people do that I try to not get stuck in is, there's some examples of where you have an idea of what you want to do and that's your North Star and you do it. Great. But I think a lot of people really miss out on opportunities, and myself included at times, by not being flexible and really just going with where your gifts are. You might think you want to be this and that and be a big performer up on a stage and tour the world, but you're really, really good at something else in the industry. But because you want the other thing so bad, you don't see this gift that could be an amazing thing for you and still allow you to go and do a little bit of that other thing you wanted. But maybe it didn't look exactly like you want. I don't know. That's something that I come across because you come to Nashville and there's just so many other opportunities. So I try and stay open to that because my dream, like, I want to play in a band. That's what I want. I'm fine with playing solo, but God, do I miss playing in a band.
Yeah.
I just want a band. I want to rock out, and I want every single member of that band to shine. I just want it to be like a group. Like I think of, like Moga Family Band. Have you heard them yet? The Pitch Meeting, they started as something at Pitch Meeting. Eric Fortaleza and his group. Looks pretty magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a bunch of superstars in their own right. Lots of joy when you watch them play. And anyways, that's a whole other tangent. But yeah, I just want to be in a band. And so but maybe there's something else for me in the meantime. Maybe there's a different road. But I have my heart open right now. And I'm just open because right now I didn't have these things happening. You kind of hinted at earlier, like what the trajectory with sobriety and like where my music is now is like, I'm doing so much music now that I'm sober, and thank God to other sober musicians that took me under their wings and really helped me to grow during this time. And every time I go to a round now, there'll be without a doubt, at least the last 4 rounds that I've played, there's been somebody there that I'm connect with, whether it's in the following round or like in the audience or something. I'm like, man, that person is just like really vibing and they have the greatest energy. And then I get to talking to them and find out they're like 10 years sober. Every time. And it's just been blowing my mind because they throw out this energy, and I feel like it's not scary to be a sober person in the music industry because there's so many of us.
It's well, I think culturally there has been kind of a shift around alcohol consumption and just sobriety in general. Like there's way more non-alcoholic beverage options at venues and stuff than there used to be. And it does seem like it's kind of, I don't know, like that kind of partying vibe is on, it seems like it's on the, like it's waning. So I mean, it's pretty good time, I think,
Agreed.
for that.
It's a good time to be sober.
Yeah.
But I still have my moments where I feel like a nerd. Like, I went to a comedy show the other night and I ordered a soda water with a lime. Ooh. And
Hey.
and the guy across from me goes, my order is gonna be a little bit different, and then proceeds to order multiple shots and buckets of beer. And I'm like, oh my God, he thinks I'm a dork. And it's like, no, you're fine. Like, you're not important in this scenario. But it just gets in my head sometimes, like, am I not fun? But no, I have way more fun. I actually do stuff now. It's not about like, oh, let's go get drunk.
Yeah. I never felt like I never, even when I was drinking a lot, it wasn't that I was like, let's go get drunk. I don't think I ever really had that as a goal. I just like beer. I don't know. I just start having a good time, and it's like, well, my glass is empty and I don't want to leave yet. So obviously that means there needs to be more beer in this glass.
Well, drinks are part of the equation. Like, even I was talking to somebody, I saw a friend the other day, and we were talking about going to meet up to do this thing, and she said, yeah, and I live in that area, so you can come over and we'll have a glass of wine before we go. No problem. She doesn't need to remember that I'm not drinking. That's not the important part of it, but it's just like, that is part of it, right? Well, why don't you come over and we'll have a drink and then we'll do this thing?
Yeah.
Or why don't we go out and have a drink and we'll meet up? So now having to find these creative ways of things like, what can we do to have fun? I didn't realize how much fun I wasn't having.
Oh, that's
when I was drinking. Like, truly, I was not, because I wasn't doing anything, because all my money, I'm like, that's too expensive. I don't want to do that because I need that money to drink. And even now, just watching, I was like, why do I feel broke all the time? And now I'm like, I'm still kind of broke, but I have more money in my bank account. So that's, I'm not bad. It's not bad.
That is interesting.
Terrible.
That is interesting. Like, if you go out and you have a like dinner at a restaurant, even just 1 or 2 drinks on top of what you're paying for your meal,
right,
drastically increases that hurt that you feel when the tab comes. It's like
physically and mentally.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot.
I agree. Going out to dinner, it's like, we went out with a friend the other day and got to check, is this right? Like, yeah, you just had like a couple tacos and a water.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it's usually like $80 when I go to get Mexican food, but no margaritas, no tequila.
As far as like the feeling, Bree and I took the entire year of 2024 off from alcohol.
Yeah.
That was what I was like, okay, I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again, but if I chose that, I know that I could do it. I wanted to prove that, like, I could be in those social situations and not feel like that. It's like almost like it feels obligatory. Obligatory.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
However you say that. And like you said, I have actually way more fun. I can still be at a bar where other people are drinking in a beverage. And it's like, oh, I'm not going to feel like shit tomorrow. And I'm going to remember all of this.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was just a social thing. Like, I like having a beverage in my hand that is like bubbly and not water. That's all I really loved about that. Right. Now, if I have a beer, I just feel like slow. I don't feel like good. Yeah.
The things I was looking for out of alcohol and pot, I honestly have found in moments of just clarity and sobriety. Like, that buzz, that high, it's weird. It's trippy sometimes, because I have these moments where I'm like, man, am I high? It's like, no, you're just feeling for the first time. You're just feeling. I talked to my cousin the other day. She's also in recovery. She's like, that moment when you look up at the sky and are like, gosh, the sky's so blue. And little things like that, it sounds silly, but you didn't experience it like that when you were using all the time. And it's weird. It's weird how recovery, and I say recovery, not just sobriety, because I think whatever, like, it doesn't have to be a 12-step program, but just some type of program to like know yourself better, whatever that looks like. People could do that through self-help books or podcasts or whatever your thing is, but just not just stopping cold turkey, but like stopping cold turkey with the intention that I'm going to get more connected with myself and I'm going to live a better life. It is wild. It is wild. I never, ever in my life thought that I could go 20 months without smoking pot. Pot was a morning, afternoon, evening, and before bed story for me for decades. And it's wild. Like, I love the smell of it, but guess what? You live in Nashville, so you get to smell it all day, every day. So there you go.
Yep.
I'm on my motorcycle, just cruising around, like, man, it smells good out here. But yeah, so yeah, I can still smell it all day if I want, but just that feeling, that weight that you talked about, even referring to alcohol, but I felt the same. The depressant in the THC, and yeah, it was just a weight. I remember, those drug commercials that they have. The one that stood out to me when it came out the most was there was a girl, and apparently she was smoking pot, but her whole body was just like a puddle
on
a couch.
Uh-huh.
The first time I saw that, I was still using this a long time ago, but the first time I saw that ad, I said, that is what smoking weed feels like to me. I'm boring and I'm heavy and I'm a giant puddle. I don't know. It didn't make me want to quit, but I do think about at the time, but I do think about it. I said, that was a powerful one for me because I could really relate to what that person was like.
Yeah. Pot for me, I smoked a ton when I was like a teenager, and I don't know. I feel like as it got stronger, it just made me more paranoid when I would do it. And I did not care for that. And I had heart surgery when I was born. So those kinds of things are like, if I'm feeling like the first several panic attacks I had, I went to the hospital because I thought, here's the big one. You know what I mean? Like, I really thought, I was like, oh, there's something, because my anatomy is different. I was like, obviously something is broken now.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're actually okay. Like, we've checked you out. It's okay.
I get chest flutters. I used to get those all the time.
But like, God, they've been working on, I don't know, like it's the average potency of marijuana products is insane now because of the legalization. Like, I support legalization.
Me too.
But I still think they need to be regulating that shit.
Right. They need to make it more legal and have checks and balances, because even this stuff, like right now in Tennessee, if I couldn't get to the person that had the real stuff, and who knows if it was real, just because all this stuff that's flooding the market now, but if I couldn't get to the person with the real stuff, I was going to the CBD store and I was doing these damn like dabs of THCA or whatever. And that stuff, I was going crazy. I was eating, I want to say like close to 200 milligrams of this hybrid whatever from the local legal head shop. That stuff was making me sick. It was making my brain, it was twisting my brain. That was not pot. That was synthetic, something that was like really messing with my brain. And that stuff I think is way less safe for us than just like the good old fashioned outdoor,
Yeah.
like, or your buddy grows some hydroponic in their basement. Like I feel lucky that I smoked when I did, because who knows what's in this crap now. I think some people are lucky depending on where you live, but
even
safe.
Even in the places, like when I was in grad school in San Francisco, that would have been, it wasn't fully legal in California yet, but if you had a card, you could go, and they were pretty.
Yeah.
If you were a resident of California,
yeah,
you could get a weed card. So somebody had it, but like, so they're getting it from a, you know, a regulated by the state dispensary, but the potency is still like 96%. It's like, it's like 96% dipped in, you know, like the
Heat.
resin.
Yeah.
With like that's been, you know,
it's so strong.
And when I was a teenager buying from some, you know, whoever in Fayetteville, North Carolina, like I could smoke an entire joint of whatever that was and still convince my mom that I was normal.
Same. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's
I
like
do
you
know.
and you and it was good. It was great. It felt, I felt good, but not like existential dread.
Not the tweaking that happens with this new stuff.
It wouldn't like set me off.
But that's the thing, it's chasing. Like there's chasing. I remember going to Colorado after it was legal. I was hanging out with these musicians, and this guy, he was from Pittsburgh, where I'm from, and he said, he's like, yeah, I was a heroin addict in Pittsburgh, and I moved to Colorado, and now I just do dabs and I'm healed. But I'm telling you, I watched this guy. He woke up in the morning, he came out, he was normal, and he took a hit of a dab, and I watched his soul leave his body. His soul left his body. He was gone. And he's sitting there talking about how I'm healed. It's like, no, you're not going to die as fast from this choice. Like you're still running. I was still running. I was trying to change everything about my use. Maybe if I did this, did that, change the type of liquor I was drinking to wine, I'm still chasing something because like you said, with the 99%, it's that way. And then we're chasing, we want to get higher. I couldn't even get high. At the end of it, I was taking 200 milligrams just to catch a buzz of edibles. I couldn't smoke and feel anything. I wasn't getting high. I drank and drank and drank, and I couldn't get, drunk enough. And I was just chasing something, and I was chasing not wanting to feel my feelings. Not wanting to be with myself and sit with myself because of whatever my stuff was. We all have stuff, whatever mine was. I was just chasing the alcohol. I would pick what alcohol I was drinking based on the alcohol content. If I went to the brewery, it was, what are the 3 highest gravity beers? Drink a light beer? Why would I drink that? Because it tastes good? Because you think it? No. Yeah. I'm going for the big stuff because I need as much alcohol content as I can before my belly gets too full to drink anymore. And I don't miss that. I don't miss it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to miss about it. And then the shame and the hate I felt for myself and the way I showed up, the lost friendships, none of it was worth it. It got me here, so I'm grateful, but none of it was worth it.
I don't know how the universe works, man, but I feel like, you got very unlucky with the timing of your move. I'm not saying that like everything would have been fine had COVID not happened for you, but I know that you weren't really dealt the best hand with that. Like that was a pretty massive moment to also be struggling and then have to go through that. I don't know. Like I'm just I am grateful that like I don't know. It's almost like the timing of me meeting you is like I'm trying to phrase this in a way that sounds like not selfish. Whatever the journey has been for you to be where you are right now, I'm just grateful that I get to know this person. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Do you see what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be rude because I've obviously like I don't want you to have had to go through those difficult times. But like whatever clarity and like peace you have right now, like is such a good presence and vibe for the people around you.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
I feel like I understand what you're saying, and I I feel like I was exactly where I was supposed to be in those moments. And maybe that was hard at the time because no one wants to feel like you're supposed to be in that low. But if I don't live with the belief that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right here, right now, and at all times, then I'm just gonna, it's just gonna make my brain go crazy again. And I've seen that when I allow myself to just be where I am, beautiful things happen. I get to meet people that I care about, that I feel like are throwing out similar energy. When I'm not in a hurry and I just allow the universe to do what it does, it usually does something way better than I was trying to do. But it's hard to trust that because there's still the downs, right? There's still the low points and all the hell that I've been through. But I do believe that I went through the hell that I went through to be able to be where I am right now. And I get to see every single day in my life that my world is giving back because I'm making myself again number one, because I want to fill up cups. I want to be here for people. I want to be here but I have to be here for myself. And that's what I wasn't doing before in that hell. Is like I wanted to give from an empty cup, and that's just never going to work. That's not a thing. And I get it. Like, I also don't wish that I had to go through all of that stuff, but if it led to like, all the wonderful things we got to meet, like you get to meet me at this point in my life instead of meeting me over COVID, you'd be like, who is this bitch?
I mean, I wouldn't have been this version of me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's weird looking back at pictures of yourself where like, it's weird because like in the moment I didn't think anything was wrong. Then like I look back and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I looked tired and sad.
Yes.
And I'm smiling.
We talk about this. We talked about this earlier, even before the podcast. The energies that people give off, and the energies that we gave off in those times. My skin was gray. My skin was gray. I had gained so much weight through the process. Like addiction for me was just like consistent weight gain over the last 10 years or so, and just with the skin and my hair, everything, and I see that now sometimes with people that are struggling. They're really nice people. There's nothing like that they're doing that's wrong, but there is a black cloud that is just on them. And they're usually, throwing back drinks, and they're fine people, but there's something that is like not open. There's something that makes me not want to. And I'm not saying this about all people that are drinking. I'm saying like some people that you can feel that they're hurting. They're sad in their drinking. There's plenty of people that drink and have fun and are, quote unquote normies. And yeah, totally. But there's some people that you can just feel their sadness. And I feel like I was definitely one of those people when I was using, that there was an energy around me at times, at least.
I feel like for a long time, I was just like an angry person.
I can relate. Very angry.
I feel like when I was in college and in grad school, like I was doing fun things, but like if I'm being flat out honest with myself, I always just wanted to come here.
I love that. I love that you're here.
I just wanted to be here. I wanted to be doing what I'm doing now, but like I don't know that I was ready when I was younger. I feel like Broadway would have eaten me alive if I'd moved here when I was 21.
Same. 100%.
I would have probably imploded.
Well, that's that right timing.
Yeah.
Right? I had thought about coming to Nashville before I went to Park City. And if I had come to Nashville, yes, I would probably still be on Broadway. Who knows? I mean, I can't say. I don't know what would have happened. But I feel like I definitely would have gotten chewed up and swallowed up. Or chewed up and swallowed by that monster. That it can be. Not saying all things on Broadway are bad. But
no, I'm like, I can
if you
do
know,
it.
you know.
Yeah, like I can do it. The once a week thing is fun. If I get an extra shift here or there, it's cool. But And even if I did do it more, it wouldn't do to me what I know it would have done when I was like in my 20s.
Or like with the addiction stuff, I
Yeah.
think about it. Oh my gosh. Who knows what I would have gotten into? You know, those late nights and just things flying around and that party lifestyle. It was hard enough as is. I can't imagine. I see it. Some of the stuff I see down there, it just, yeah, I worry. I worry for friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's their life. I'm not stressing about it, but sometimes it just, my heart hurts a little bit and I worry because it's just, it can get prevalent with the drugs, you know.
Yeah.
Just with what drugs are now, especially with fentanyl and stuff. We won't go into that, but it just, it's scary. It's a scary time for using.
Yeah. Yeah. But like you said, it's the timing thing. You know, I guess I just like had to meet the right
Mm.
person and it worked out. But that longing,
Mhm.
the word is languishing.
Languish. Love it.
And it's like it's not depression, but it's like the knowledge that you should be elsewhere or doing more,
Mm.
and for whatever reason just not.
Mhm.
And like, you know, could function day to day. Like I did the stuff
Yeah.
that I was supposed to be doing given the environment that I had put myself in. I was doing all the things, but it just wasn't really, I don't think it was really what I was called to do.
And I love that you and Bree went on that adventure together too. I really think that when you stopped drinking for that year, that you had each other and had that support system because you both, I mean, you were building this next chapter of your life, right? So being able to have a clear head together, do you feel like that helped make the navigation of things like coming to Nashville and making those choices, selling your house up and leaving family and everything? Like, did you feel like some of that was a bit easier because you didn't have that extra stress being clouded and making those choices?
So you said earlier, like you said that just feeling
Mhm.
everything without substances. I think I had my first drinks when I was, 14, 15. Didn't have access to it all the time. My parents didn't just like let me drink all the time. But at holidays, yeah, okay, sure,
Mhm.
Um, but when I got older, like I just drank all the time.
Mhm.
And so like when we decided to take a year off, I had taken a few months off at a time. But like we had our business. She was working in the nursing home. I was gigging all the time. And it was just like, you know what? Barring some like social media miracle, like a viral moment,
Mhm.
I don't know what is going to change any of this. Like, I'm just going to be playing the same circuit here
Mhm.
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I felt like I could see where I was going to be in 25 years. And I've just never had that in me. Like I knew I wanted to go somewhere and
Mhm.
try it,
Mhm.
And when we decided not to drink, feeling that longing unencumbered by
Mm.
the numbing of anything, it was like, holy shit, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta go do the thing.
Yeah.
It's just being present for every emotional state and having to just sit in it. Like, you play a shit gig to 4 people who seem apathetic that you're there. And I'm still gonna get paid. Um, and I'm not having a few beers. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have one of those gigs, and I hate saying things like this because like every gig that you get paid for and you get to play music for a living is better than any other job I have ever done.
Truth.
But when you have higher like ambitions and aspirations and you're like, this is not serving that right now.
Yeah.
For years when that would happen, have a couple of IPAs. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
I can deal with this.
Yeah. Tomorrow I might have a good gig where someone says something nice.
Yeah.
And me, because like you have both.
Yeah.
You have both. And like you're always going to have both.
Absolutely.
You're always going to have both.
There's always, everybody had to deal with shitty gigs if you're going to gig for a living.
Yeah. But realizing that numbing that feeling doesn't make it go away.
No, if anything, it makes it come back with a force.
Yeah.
And that's where you build. That's the progressive nature of the disease of addiction.
But there were moments for both of us, I think, during that year where it's like, if I could have had a few drinks tonight, this wouldn't be bothering me as much as it is.
Yeah.
But it is bothering me. What can I change about this so that I wouldn't experience this bothersome occasion?
Yeah.
And turns out it was like following that calling. I have significantly fewer nights like here.
Yeah.
And it's not even I'm not, and I don't mean to say all that and it feel like I'm shitting on my hometown. It's not. It's that like you feel a calling to do something, you got to go do it.
You should.
And like for you moving here at the time, I'm sure that was so hard because it's like, okay, I did the thing. I came to the place. And then the world shuts down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was just so much with coming here. I was also like following the lead of a music partner at the time who was coming here. Like there were just so many pieces, but I wasn't so called to Nashville because my numbing part of the using was just making other people my higher power. So like if somebody else said that this was going to be good for me, I was going to do it. And I don't regret it. I'm glad that I'm here. I really am glad that I'm here. And some of the experiences I've got to have here have just been insane and so amazing. I just, I wasn't called to be here, but I was called to stay, if that makes sense. Like through my recovery, like through that process of quitting, I was definitely called to stay. And I'm glad that I stayed. So, but I can definitely relate to what you're saying about having to feel that what is my purpose? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to leave? Because as I said earlier, my answer was to run. If I got sober, it was coupled with running. But no matter where I run to in the world, I might get the high of everything changing for a couple months, but then I'm with myself again. And then I start using again. And so having to stay, which is partly through the recovery process, which they say, at least for the first year, unless you're in danger, don't quit your job, don't move, if you have a partner, don't leave them. I definitely was called to stay, and I'm so glad that I did. And now I love Nashville. That's what's funny. Before I was in this, scarcity mindset, like, just negative. I didn't like Nashville. Where's the mountains? It's too much city. And now it's just so different. I'm just happy. I love it. I love that this is the least boring place to live outside of maybe New York, right? But there's just always something to do. The music is incredible. I love you can walk into any random bar or restaurant and it's some of the best musicians on certain nights. It's just really special. It's really special. And, people from all over the world and just great conversations. Great. I just love it. I'm glad that I was called to stay.
Our experience coming here was that everybody was just so open. And I've met some people since being here who have spent time both like here and like in Los Angeles. And I've heard that like as competitive as it can seem here, it's like worse in LA.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And that like I love that I can go to house shows at like Twisted Tea Garden up in Madison and be around a bunch of like, hip, like indie, lo-fi, whatever, whole different vibe. And between sets at that show, hang out with everybody. And when I tell them that I play on Broadway, they don't all judge me. And the same thing with like the Broadway choir. It's like we all do so many different things, and it's like you're not judged for your taste as much, or like you're not expected to stick in any one clique or group. So yeah, man, you got to go hustle and like we're all just following whatever things present themselves,
And lucky to be somewhere that we can do that and have the space to do that. That's a gift to be able to all beat to these different paths. And I feel like you see it on people here. There's this thing about being in Nashville where people just I don't know how to say this, but it's like our inner children shine through us. There's a sense of play that happens in the sense of ease and easygoingness. I was between Nashville and LA. Like the person that I was moving with, we looked at both. We came to both places. And ultimately the choice was made to come here because we felt like community already existed here. Like a sense of community and a desire for community. Versus in LA, it just was so dog eat dog. And we would go to these things that were branded as community events. And it was just a lot of people who were there to let you know how great they were. And we didn't understand. And they were fine people, talented people, wonderful people. But there was just this different thing. Like it seemed like it was pulling teeth to try and get people to have a sense of community. Now, that's of course not exclusive of all. And there's different mediums, right? Like I feel like I hear it might be different in like the comedy scene in LA. It seems like there's a lot of community there, but I'm sure they deal with their own stuff just like we do here. But with music, it felt like there was just a lot of competition, a lot of posturing, and a lot of backstabbing was just kind of and this again, coming from just somebody at a glance, I don't know. It could be totally opposite, but this was just an experience from a snapshot, a glance of being there, going to things that were said to be like the community-minded things. It just didn't feel. But then coming to Nashville, being like, gosh, there's support for everything here. There's support for everyone and everything. And this group's doing this and this group's doing that. And it just felt like it was existing whether we were here or not, versus in LA, we'd have to work a lot harder.
Yeah.
To find community.
Yeah, this place, I say it all the time, it feels like a small town with big buildings.
Yeah.
Like
it is a small town.
You go around to like the music stores and like everyone's just so like positive. It's like, hey man.
Yeah.
Happy to help, like they're happy to be helping you.
Yeah.
Or like happy to help you find something, or yeah. You don't get that everywhere. And it's not just big cities. Like you don't get that, in small towns where it's like that should be the vibe. You don't always get that. But like it's very present here.
I dig it.
So like musically, you've been playing like a ton of rounds, and you were telling me that you've been having really good experiences at several of them. Like you've been playing some rounds where it's like everyone, it's been really good.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, the
and
last couple of weeks have been some fire rounds.
yeah. So what do you feel like looking forward? What are your goals now?
My goals are to focus on people who give a shit about my music. I just had a conversation with somebody who I was super grateful. They let me buy him a coffee and just chat about some things and trends and, what to do about AI because AI is here to stay. We need to embrace it in whatever way we can, whatever that looks like to the individual. But I think that it's a time to focus on music in a different way. And I feel hopeful for the future because what I do is not mainstream, and I
Mhm.
feel like that's, gonna serve me through this next time. I think there's plenty of ways that people do mainstream, I'm not taking away from that, whatever you do, you do. But for me, just really try to focus on what makes me different, what makes me unique, and how do I really just hone in on that and cultivate that, and then slowly growing, right? I had that scarcity versus abundance mindset, right? I don't need to throw all my music out everywhere and be like, "Oh my gosh, who's gonna listen? Somebody's gonna listen. Hopefully somebody's gonna listen." How do I strategically build based on people that just are interested in the moment, right? And I have some ideas about this and how to move forward I'm really excited about, but just focusing on who wants to hear it, sharing it with them, and then just recording my songs and having tangible songs because this has been my monster. This has been my monster in the room is the recording
Mhm.
because I did 5 songs in 2015 and I did 3 songs in 2017. Never released the 2017 songs because it was such a horrible experience with the producer. And
Hmm.
then it's a whole nother day, whole nother topic. And then I recorded one with a good friend that I wrote the song with here in Nashville, and I love it, and I'm gonna release it, but I am sitting on so much unrecorded music, and people come to my shows and they say, "Where can I hear that song? Where can I listen to that in my bedroom?"
Mhm.
Or in my car and have alone time I need to hear that song. I just don't have it to share. So I'm excited for my future, which is just being able to cut my own demos. I have everything I need. Working with the demos for right now, and then figuring out what songs are resonating the most with people that are listening to my music, getting in the studio, starting to cut those and make those into bigger forms of themselves and just releasing music. I want to just keep releasing music. Just, in whatever release looks like. It might not necessarily look like Spotify, but record music and put it out there so that people want to hear it, can
Mhm.
hear it. Because yeah, I just want to share these songs. I want to share these songs. I want to start these conversations. Because I think a lot of times our songs are really just a conversation, right? You have a song that I am absolutely obsessed with that I think the world should hear. You have a lot of songs like that, but one in particular that you know what I'm talking about. And it's just because to me, it starts a conversation and it starts a really important conversation that like I can connect with and I know other people can. And same thing with my songs. Like I have some songs that when I play them, it starts a conversation and I want to have bigger ways to have those conversations with people and have the music kind of like guide us through those feelings and those experiences that we go
Mhm.
through that make us so much more similar than different. Which goes back, I will say, one of the greatest gifts I've learned through my recovery is that I'm not different. Like, I had this story that I am so different from everyone. I'm so different. This is why the world seems so crazy to me because everybody's got it figured out and they're different than me. I'm wrong. And through recovery, which is a whole hell of a lot of sharing and listening to people share, I've learned that no, I am not different. I am unique and I am myself but my feelings and life experiences other people go through. And when we share those, we all heal together. So that's what I want. I just want my music to be a vessel of healing for myself and others, however that works.
Mhm.
But I need it recorded. I need my songs recorded.
So you had mentioned, I think when we first talked, the first night that we met, you had mentioned that you had those
Mhm.
those 5 songs that they had been released, but that you take them down or something?
Oh, good question. So, fighting with the monkey of I hate myself. My name's Elizabeth Harza. I release things under Elizabeth Harza. I had a website, elizabethharza.com, whatever. And I Elizabeth's a dorky name. My last name's hard to pronounce. Like all of these things, it just, I decided that I was going to bury myself. Right. So I came to Nashville. I let my website expire. Somebody's trying to sell it back to me for thousands of dollars. And I was embarrassed of those songs. They're where I come from. Instead of realizing like they're my journey, they're part of my journey, I was like, they're terrible. I'm a horrible songwriter. I'm not good enough. I don't want anybody to hear these. And so I started going by Elizabeth B, which still doesn't even, the whole name thing with me and like going by a name just is a whole monster in itself because, gosh, that's a whole nother hour-long conversation we'll save for a different day. But yeah, the songs are under Elizabeth Harza, so you kind of have to know how to find them. And now I'm going by Elizabeth B, and I haven't released anything by Elizabeth B, so what am I going to do? I think that's been part of what's kind of kept me paralyzed a little bit with the releasing is that I changed what I go by when I came to Nashville because people know me as Elizabeth and they know me as B, and it was getting confusing, so I said, fine, I'm Elizabeth B. Does that make it easier? You know? So,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it's a whole thing.
I think so you said that you're just working on like learning production so that you can
I need to cut my own demo. Yeah, I'm going to record my own demos so that I can start putting those like high quality demos onto songs and on social media and then eventually work with a producer. But I also have some ideas. I've taken an incredible amounts of samples just through my travels of all kinds of different sounds and finding ways to just really play in the studio and be able to make something out of these sounds and incorporate almost like landscapes, audio landscapes within the songs, whether those are short snippets in between tracks or there's just a lot I want to play with. I have a vision, but learning how to make that reality. Sometimes I get caught up in that fear of like, God, I want it to freaking sound good, you know? And so I get scared, but I know what I want and I have the ideas of what I want. So what's important for me now is to be able to get down what I want before I work with a producer, because I think that's where it went wrong last time and it was a bad experience in 2017. That I knew what I wanted, but since I hadn't done the work to show that, somebody took the songs and did what they wanted with it. Yeah. And it just wasn't a good experience.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to depending on the producer, it can be hard to communicate if your technical jargon speak don't perfectly align or if they're just indifferent. Like, I'm not the most technically proficient engineer or anything in the world, especially not in Nashville. But like, you know, when I worked with clients in North Carolina, they would say things like, you know, they'd go to a studio in like Charlotte or whatever, and the person had a very nice studio with all the gear, and they knew how to run it. They knew how to like set up mics and all that stuff, but they weren't engaged with the material. Yeah. Like they were there to push record. Yeah. You feel good about that? All right. What's next?
And that's great for some people that need that guidance. And like in my first record, I needed that. I needed that help. But right now, I like if you have a vision for your stuff, you gotta put in the work to be able to show the vision and learn. And it's okay if you don't know theory, you don't know the technical parts of it, but like that's what I want now is to like be able to get the idea across. Yeah, what I'm looking for.
I guess what I was just saying is like the producer has to be open to that.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
That. Like you know, if you go to a producer who's just there to push buttons and collect an hourly rate, you're not. That product isn't going to be you're not going to be able to get that vision across to that person. Right. You know, there are so many people who just have nice stuff. And that's a fraction of like what that role is supposed to be.
Right.
You know?
And I think you're more likely to find the producer that gets what you're doing if you have an example to give them, right? Like you're more likely to find the button pusher if you don't have anything to attract, right? You need to draw in and attract the things that you want. Otherwise, you open yourself to just somebody who, yeah, is just going to push the buttons and go through the motions. And then you might be a little bit disappointed, like in my case, or not. But yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like the future for me and my music, but what I do know is that I need to be recording these ideas, like me recording them. And right now is the time to figure that out, because things with, like AI tools, I'm not saying like I'm not using AI right now for myself for like writing or like, but the tools that they have, or the knowledge that you can get quickly to help you navigate how to do things for yourself. Like I want to learn how to kind of take advantage of gaining knowledge so that I can be self-sufficient, if that makes sense, rather than like, because I still want to play the instruments in mine and I still want to do all that. But, I need to be putting this music out. It's really important. It's really important for me to be putting this music out. And I'm writing songs all the time. So it's like, which ones am I going to cut? I get more songs I want to cut every week. So what, I need to get in the studio and start somewhere.
Yeah.
But having something to share, I think, or just like having a disco, I can send somebody a link on disco, and if they like a song,
Yeah.
But that's where I'm kind of at.
You had mentioned to me that like you've established connections with people like all over the world. So I mean, I feel like because of all that you're set up to get those ideas around more so than other people might. So like being able to take advantage of all of those experiences, both good and bad, in the long run, that did connect you with a bunch of people. So,
yeah,
I think that'll be good.
well, it's good.
Did you say that you've gotten like the equipment and stuff that you?
Oh yeah, I have an Apollo Twin. I've got a good mic, a good recording mic. Got a room, a MacBook, things like that, working in Logic. And yeah, there's just some stuff to push through. It's like one step at a time. And this recording thing has really been a fear for whatever reason. Sometimes there's irrational fears that we have, and I am more comfortable performing live than studio recording, so that's probably some of it. But it's just getting to the point where I'm just kind of like, what the hell is wrong with you?
That's
get it
not
done.
irrational. Like I feel way more comfortable performing live than I do in here. And there's something about the permanence of a record.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and I've talked about this with other folks before, but like when you're live and there is an audience, there's this energy give and take.
Yes.
Palpable in the room.
Yep.
Like if I have a really good moment here, they might forgive me on this one if I'm a little flat or if my voice cracks. Because together in the room, there's always the next moment that I can make up for it right there to those people.
100%.
But we don't run out of tape anymore. So I can take as many attempts to get it just right in here. And everybody knows that. So if I don't get it right in here, well, then I just suck. And I've put something out into the world that will be there forever that sucks in some way. That's terrifying to me.
Well, that's like what I said with my EP, like the judgments of my EP from 2015 it's just, that's what it is. It's like, oh, I should have said that word different. Oh, I wish I would have enunciated more. It's like, none of that matters. It was a moment in time. Do the next thing. Do the next thing, and then do the next thing, and then do the next thing. Like that's why I say like wanting more songs. I know people have mixed feelings of like, you should just record and at this rate or release this. I don't really care about that for me and what I do. I just want to have my songs in a format that people can listen to if they want to, and that I can share. I just, so that they're, out and in the world. And what I run into is that I play with my songs because they're not recorded. I play my songs a little bit different every time. It's like, how am I feeling? I remember one night I was so bored playing background music at this gig. I sang every one of my originals with a Southern accent. That was just what I did for the night, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. But, I'm always playing, I'm always changing. If I listen to a song from 3 months ago and then I listen to how I sing it today, there's always something a little different. So I think I get too hung up on that because even if I record the song, I can still do that. It's my song. Oh, and guess what? If I want to record my song 15 different times, 15 different ways, I can do that.
Yeah.
So what I need to do, and what I think gets in the way of me recording, is I need to stop giving rules, like giving credit to rules. There are no rules. It's my music. I can do whatever I want. And if I do something and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, then it's just a learning opportunity that I can take or I can leave. But in my head, I was like, well, I got to record it one time and that's it. That's all I can do. That's not true. I could do whatever I want. And that's what I'm trying to embrace moving forward in my career is I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'm not going to give myself like these rules and worry about these hypotheticals and what ifs, and just like do it and that's it. It was a moment in time. It's like your journal. I read shit in my journal that I cringe.
Yeah, my Facebook memories make me hate myself every day.
Right?
Yeah, but it's funny when you think about it, like I was so scared of recording because it's like a record and it's like lasts forever, but it's a record of who you were then.
Yes.
It's a record of what you did then.
Right.
It's a record of what your abilities were then.
Right.
And I've been thinking about like with my releases, I'm definitely going to release, so like US Highway 50 is coming out, but I'm going to release an acoustic version of that.
Nice.
That I mix. It's the same tracks. I'm just going to probably like just strip it down and like release another version of it just to have a different version of it. Or if I want to do a complete different mix, like Taylor Swift did with all of hers. Like she did it for like financial reasons, but like, why can't I have the mix that I had somebody do that I paid?
Love it.
And that's the thing. But what if I want to do it?
Yeah.
I can. I've got all the stems here. I can do whatever I want. And like, I love that mindset. It's like, how could it evolve over time? What if I want to cut the vocal again after I sang it a certain way at a gig and release it that way?
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, we can. And nobody can tell us not to do that. That's kind of the beautiful thing about making music now, is that we do have so much more control. But I think it's the shitty remnants of like, whatever the industry expectations used to be, they just don't matter anymore.
Yeah, everything.
If people
changes.
like it, fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, and just don't. I don't want to be afraid to like mess up anymore. I have a friend who always talks about failing as fast as you can, and that's something that I really need to embrace. Is I just need to fail as fast as possible because, and when I say fail, I just mean like make mistakes. You just need to make mistakes so that you can learn what they are and you can grow. And sometimes whenever you make a choice that seems like it's wrong or it's a mistake, it just opens your eyes to something you didn't know, and then you can do better. And that idea of perfectionism, no one's perfect. Even people who think they are not. There's something, they still fart and do things, whatever. But this idea of perfection is ridiculous. And sometimes I think that I don't fall into that. But when I think about it harder and really like self-examine, I'm like, no, I think I'm trying really hard to get something just right instead of realizing that there's beauty in the fault and the missteps. And sometimes they aren't actually missteps. They turn into something magical. So I really just want to stop being afraid to like just take that step, because that's where my addictions got me. It got me just really like stuck. And I'm sick and tired of feeling stuck. In the last 20 months, I feel less and less stuck. So I know I'm in the right direction. But as far as music's concerned, I just want to keep vibing, keep doing. And I know as a fact that with me cutting demos of my songs, that magic is going to happen in my life. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know who that involves other than myself, but I know if nothing else, then the feeling of, wow, I did this, that's magic. But I know that only good things can come from that. And I'm not saying that things can't come, like somebody hearing a song and making some nasty comment about it online, but whatever, we're all
Those
going to
people
deal
are
with
always
that.
going to be there.
They're going to exist forever. And maybe that's some of the fear too, is when you're vulnerable. You put something out and you're vulnerable, and you hear something that, yeah, that can be scary, but we all have to learn that. Like this business is just so full of no's and negativity. I told you that story earlier about the songwriter whose A&R rep told him what a piece of crap his songwriting is about a song that ended up being a number one in multiple countries. So just that, just believing in ourselves and just trusting that if we do and take action and just keep moving forward, all the other shit is noise. It's just noise. And then we're lucky we have people like each other that are in orbit. If I ever get a no or somebody treats me like shit, I'm probably gonna call T Davis and be like, "Yo, buddy,
Anytime.
I need you to talk me out of this hole."
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm happy to do that.
and vice versa.
And if I can be of help with any of the recording stuff,
Thank you.
just let me know.
I appreciate that, and that's another thing I need to learn it is okay to ask for help. I am not the only person who is allowed to help people.
Yeah.
I can receive. I can ask. It is okay.
Oh man, we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I'm not surprised because I think we talked for 2 hours and 15 minutes before
Yeah,
we got up here.
we did.
So.
We did. I was like not being very mindful of the time, but
We are talkers.
Yeah. That was what happened the first time we met.
I know.
Man, I was like, well, shit, Bree's going to be wondering where I am.
Yeah.
And I told her that this was not going well.
Right.
So she's like, why are you still there?
Okay.
Yeah. I want to do the lightning round because we always get some pretty cool little like gems out of this with everybody.
All right.
So not like an early memory in the sense of something that you did often as a kid, but as specific as you can get, your earliest memory of music.
Playing in this corner of my house. Like whenever we lived in this house from like, I want to say I was 7 to like 11 or something like that. But I remember exactly where the piano was and just like going and always sitting down like every day and playing. Like I can still see out both windows on either side of the piano on a spring day. Like I sit here and like I just remember it clear as day. Just that piano. Like I'm standing on the step looking at the piano right now in my head. It's like just one of those pictures that's always there.
And didn't you say that was your
great-grandma's?
Your great-grandmother's piano.
Yeah, and I had it for a while, but it is with a woman who had lost her piano in a fire. She lives in Phoenix, and my friend helped me give it to her so that she had a piano. It was pretty out of tune. I really do miss it. I have some recordings, like those samples that I'll be able to hopefully use.
Yeah.
But I don't have it anymore. But I do have my neighbor's father's piano. Now, when they moved back to California, they didn't want to take it across country. So
they are heavy.
Yeah, they
are unpleasant to move.
So I'm grateful for my piano that I have.
Awesome. That's great. That's beautiful. That's like a full circle thing. That's like that thing where you put positive shit out into the world and you figure out a way of being a blessing to somebody else. That will come back around in some way. That's great.
It felt great, and people come into my house and they just naturally gravitate towards the piano and start playing whether they know how or not, and it brings me so much joy. And also the woman that gave it to me, it just sat in her house unplayed for a decade, and now it just gets a lot of love.
Yeah. There's something about like an acoustic piano that's just like it because of the way that it resonates throughout the whole house. There's just something so organic and tangible about it.
And each one has a different voice and different feel. It's special.
Yeah. Okay. Lightning round question number 2. If you could collaborate with anybody living or dead, if you had to pick a dream collaboration, anybody living or dead.
Without a doubt, Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. And second runner-up would be Yanni. Which I have ideas. I have this piano song right now that I'm like, oh, I heard that Yanni does collaborations. I should reach out.
So like, tell me about like your connection with Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
It was the Live at the Quick album just seeing musicians playing together on stage and making each other laugh because of their musical choices. This is a dream of mine, to be able to jam, to be able to play. One of the greatest compliments I ever got is I was one of my neighbors, he's a guitarist, really great, and had this pedal, and it had like my dream pedal, the El Capistan pedal. It's like my favorite pedal in the world, and I'll twist it and make it sound like an alien is speaking. It's just the coolest pedal ever. But he had all these great pedals, and I remember I was just like playing while he was in the kitchen doing dishes, because I'd come over just to play with his pedal, and I heard him giggle at something I played while I was messing with it, and I was like, that. And that was what I was seeing them do, and just the playfulness of all those musicians. And they had the Tuvan, throat singers from Mongolia on that. I mean, Jeff Coffin was, all these people.
Yeah.
It was just in the Wootens. I mean, Victor Wooten, my God, Future Man on the guitar, the drum guitar. What is going on? It was just incredible. It was like music like I had never heard before. And the joy and the fun and the playfulness, like that was like, that's what I want.
Yeah,
I want.
I love that whole vibe. I read, I think it's just called The Music Lesson.
Yes. Oh, fabulous.
I love his whole approach. It's like the non-existence of like wrong notes, and how like all that really matters is your intention and like your feel, you know?
I was at a restaurant in Nashville recently, and I looked over, and Victor Wooten was sitting there with his wife, and it was the most starstruck I ever been. I'm like, I didn't want to go over and say anything. I was just like, I meditated for a minute, because I'm like, I want to breathe the air and meditate in the same space that Victor Wooten is in, because he is such a magical human being, and everything I hear him say and teach and play, it's like that incredible love and energy in a human being. And I'm just like, I am breathing the same air as Victor Wooten right now, and this is the greatest day. I love where I am. Everything's beautiful. I'm outside. I have my motorcycle. Wonderful day.
All right, I got one more. If you could go back with everything that you know now and give your like beginning music career, like whatever you would consider the beginning of your career in the music business, like what is the one thing that you think is most important
to tell myself back then? I mean, just, it's so cliche, but like you are worthy. You are good enough. What you do is, it needs to exist. You know, if you have something to share it. But just the insecure stuff. I wish if I could take some of that away, which it's, you know, I'm better now, but that was just, oh gosh, at any point in my music career, if I could go back to, it's the self-doubt. Just, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. Stop being worried about what everybody else is doing. Let them do what they do. You do what you do, and learn how to do what you do well. That's all that matters. It's literally the only thing that matters. So that's what I would tell myself, and that's what I'm doing now. So that's good.
That's beautiful. All right. Well, will you tell the folks the best way to keep in touch?
Yeah. So I have a link tree. So it's linktr.ee/Elizabeth B Music. It's B like a bumblebee, BEE. And it's just Elizabeth B Music on Facebook and Instagram right now. But yeah, that's the best way. Oh, and SoundCloud. So yeah, it's the best way to find me. And I'd love to chat. So if you are listening out there, please reach out, say hello, tell me something about yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. This has been The Good, the Bad, and the Music.
Hell yeah.
Again, I'm your host, T. Davis, and I've been hanging out with my friend
Elizabeth B.
And like and subscribe and all that stuff.
Do it.
And we'll see you next time.
Later.